Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, that's okay. Am I good? I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Thank you for everybody who's here joining us. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Lyons?
Go ahead.
Ms. Vallow? Here. Mr. Brooke? Mr. Rummel?
Here.
Ms. Cotton? Here. Ms. Wood?
Here.
Ms. Tyler?
Here. Thank you. Okay, all who would like to participate, please stand for the pledge.
Our mission in partnership with Home and Community.
Thank you. Okay.
Is to educate each individual child in a safe and nurturing environment. We will foster respect, self-worth, teach skills relevant to contemporary life, to promote academic success and creative expression. We will encourage the appreciation of rich culture, diversity in our community. We will instill a sense of wonder for the future to enable our students to become lifelong learners, responsible citizens of the world. I also remember what. Thank you.
Forest Park Public School District 91
will be acknowledged by all
as a safe and nurturing
and diverse learning community
that establishes the highest standards for innovation
and continuous improvement to achieve excellence
and global citizenship for each individual child.
Recognizing that systemic bias has plagued our educational system, we commit to nurturing dialogue around all issues of inequity, including culture, race, faith, socioeconomic status, gender identity, sexual orientation, and different ability as they pertain to classroom practices, school and district structures, and policies and procedures. We support actions removing barriers to opportunities that allow children to reach their full potential. Ms. Vallow, do you mind reading our land acknowledgement?
We, the Forest Park Board of Education, would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miamia, Sioux, and Kickapoo people and pay our respect to elders both past and present.
Thanks. Number 5, consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like taken off of the consent agenda? Great. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
And a roll call?
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooke?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Okay. 6, correspondence, please. Is there any?
Yes, there is. We have a thank you card from the Phil Stevenson staff, and it reads, the front reads, thank you, dear D91 Board of Ed. Thank you for thinking of us and the bagels and coffee. We needed the time together. Signed, Susan Bogdan and the rest of the staff from Field Stevenson.
Great, thank you. Okay, 7, matters of consideration from the public. Ms. Barnes, do we have any?
No one has signed up to speak this evening.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment before we move on? Okay, thank you. Okay, 8, superintendent's report. Dr. Alvarez?
So I'm going to start off providing some recognition to our principal advisory group at Forest Park Middle School. I'm going to invite them up in a second. So we have Nina Cedillo, Prodigy Du Bois, Nia Gillespie, Leiden Gerzilak. Did I say that right, Leiden? No, I butchered it, didn't I? Gryzlik, and then Aliana Zayas. And they have been instrumental in giving us input from the students, the student voice. It's part of BELL, of our equity that we've been working on, and in something that Linda Ponce de Leon has been really helping and supporting us as we move forward, having these circle teams in every one of our schools. Our Forest Park Middle School has formed theirs. It doesn't mean it's only going to be these children here. It's going to be open to others who feel that they want to be part of this group. But Ms. Cass has also provided this space for them as she works with them on this. So I'm going to allow them just to present, and if we can give them a round of applause too.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Alvarez, parents, and teachers. I am honored to be here tonight to present a special group of students known as my Principal Advisory Group. I started the group as one part of my priority to build an equitable, positive climate and culture at FPMS. This priority will help lead us to our vision of Forest Park Middle School being a place where you can dream, achieve, thrive, and belong. I strongly believe that all members of the FPS community should have a voice in that vision. With the Bell Network, I am working to collect feedback from staff members in order to incorporate what they would like to see for FPMS. And in order to gather feedback from students, I have elicited the help of these young scholars. Students were able to opt in, but we also wanted to make sure that we included students with varied backgrounds and experiences. Okay. Do you want to click? These are our 5 members in the group. Dr. Alvarez already mentioned their names. So we have Nina Cedillo, Prodigy Du Bois, Nia Gillespie, Leiden Gerzilak, and Aliana Zayas. I'm going to turn it over to them to give you some more information about the work they've been doing.
Hello, my name is Leiden. I am in 6th grade. We are part of the National Equity Project in the Bell Network. Our school created the Principal Advisory Group, also known as PAG, to foster communication between students and adults.
Hi, I'm Nina. We meet once a month with our principal, Miss Cass, our NEP coach, Linda, and our youth organizer, Mia. We meet at 1:30, which is the last hour of the day. We get a lot of support for what we miss in class from our teachers and our principal.
Hi, I'm Nia. Our goal is to make the school more equitable as a safe and mutually respecting environment for students, teachers, and staff to feel comfortable learning and growing in our school. We are working on making better relationships between students and teachers around our school. We're hoping to tell our stories to the teachers and have them listen to our experiences at school.
Hi, I'm Aliana, and I'm in 7th grade. In the beginning stages of this project, some of the ways we were working towards the goal is through creating surveys and other methods for gathering student and teacher voices. So that way we may better understand the challenges the school community is facing.
Hi, I'm Prodigy. We hope that this group gets much larger and that we form systematic changes that make student voices and leaderships a requirement. We hope that this work will plant the seed that will allow us to create spaces for students on this board so that our voices can be included on a district level.
Thank you so much. As you can see, we're very proud of them. It takes a lot of courage to come on up and actually share with the adults about their needs, how they want to be supported. We want to make sure that that space is available for them. So, were there any questions from the board?
Not a question, but I just want to, excuse me, not a question. I just want to say thank you all for coming out here and presenting to us, because everything that we do here would be meaningless without you and your peers. And we really appreciate the fact that you have volunteered to do this and participate in this. So thank you.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. I love seeing middle schoolers. Makes me very happy, and some really familiar faces. You guys are doing great work, and thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Okay. Moving on to our Scotty Awards. That is going to be coming up in March. I want to be able to announce our winners from each of the schools. So for Field Stevenson, we have Jack Davis in 5th grade. At Garfield, we have June Poff in 2nd grade. At Betsy Ross, Amelia Thomas, 2nd grade. And there was a tie in Forest Park Middle School. So we have Naveen, I don't want to butcher her name either, El Sharif, and Shanice Patton. And they tied for it. So these are our winners for our Scotty Awards. They will be honored in a luncheon March 10th with their parents to come to the district office, where we will treat them for that. And then eventually they'll go to West 40 to get honored as well. So if we could have a round of applause for them as well. All right. We also have our National School Bus Appreciation. My apologies. National School Counseling Week. That is this week, February 6th through the 10th. This week we honor Bernard Starks, our Forest Park Middle School counselor. Our counselor provides support to our children in Forest Park Middle School to achieve school success and plan for a career. What I added on here was a podcast that Ms. Cass shared, and I shared with the board earlier, where he kind of shares a little bit about what it means to be a counselor. I have it up there if anybody wants to type it up. I know you can't click on it, but maybe we could put it on our website as well. Nudies is on it right now. We also have our school bus appreciation. So we want to shout out to all our bus drivers and our aides during National School Bus Appreciation on February 22nd. Our drivers and aides are always there to make sure that our scholars go to and from school safely and on time. So I want to thank each and every one of them. Moving on to learning and achievement, we're starting off with our Fast Bridge assessment. We do have, this was a 3-week assessment, and it ends tomorrow. What I'm going to provide to you right now is showing you some data from fall to winter. And so what you will see right now, K, you see it's the K fall, K winter, that's the W. So just so you can see it. These are standing for our MTSS, our tiers. Our tier 1 is where we want all our children to be, so we want them to be in that blue. The yellow is the tier 2, getting our children some things they may not understand yet, so they might be in tier 2. And then tier 3 usually should be a smaller amount of our children. The first part is with Ella, and then you have math. What I do want you to focus on is the blue. And so what we want to start seeing is tier 1 getting an increase and tier 2 and 3 getting decreases. So the nice thing you could see here, obviously in kindergarten we're learning to read, so we have a lot of growth there to do still. But you will see in math the bump that we made from 66% to 80%, and that's a pretty great increase there. You will also see the tier 2 decreasing like we want it to happen, as well as our tier 3. Moving on to our first grade, starting off with Ella, we do see an increase in our tier 1. We also see a decrease in our tier 2 and a decrease in our tier 3. Exactly what we want to happen for all of our children. And then you see the same thing happening with math. Increase here, decreases here. And for our second grade, and I know that we have had some absences there because of some leaves. I do want to acknowledge our second grade teachers and the support that we had during that time, the work that they did, particularly at Betsy Ross, to make sure our children were getting what they needed. So honestly, a kudos to our teachers there. You will see a huge jump in Ella from 57 to 70. The decreases we need here, moving to single digits in Tier 3, and also in math. So I was really proud to see that because I know that it was nerve-wracking to know like the teacher was not there, but they were still getting the support that they needed. Moving on to 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Same thing here, focusing on the blue. You want to start looking at the increases in Tier 1 and decreases here. It looks like our Tier 2 kind of stayed the same, but you will see the decrease, what you really want in single digits, half that is, when it comes to our 3rd graders. And then just a little bit of an increase coming into math, and a little bit more of a bump in Tier 2, but still the decrease we want in Tier 3. Moving on to 4th grade, as you start noticing we get into like the core grade levels, it's more of a slower push. It's not that great of a progression we want to see, but we still want to see the decreases within the Tier 3. And you will see that slightly within those grade levels as you hit 4th and 5th grade as well. So again, you want to see this bumped up. This here, we want to focus a little bit more. I know that Ms. Bogdan is going to be looking more deeply and happening in 5th grade to make sure we're not idle, becoming stagnant there, and bumping it up with our 5th grade teachers there. And then finally, for our middle school, you will see our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, focusing on the blue. You will see here our Tier 1. Nice thing here is you do see the decrease in Tier 3, so somewhat of a bump moving into Tier 2, and then of Tier 1 just having that 66%. And then for math, again, kind of similar, but you do want to see the Tier 3 being decreased. It looks like it's here that we need to start doing our work to push it up. For our 7th grade, you'll see a little bit of a bump there, moving into Tier 1, and then a little bit of idleness here in math. Going into 8th grade, you will see the same thing, kind of almost the same. Nice thing to see in the 8th grade math. And I know this is something that Ms. Stevens is really pushing for, looking at, the 22% in the Tier 3, and then getting the 30% to Tier 1. So some work to do as we move into higher grades, but the nice part about it is seeing Tier 3 decreasing and then getting that bump to the Tier 2 and Tier 1. And I'll pause for any questions.
I mean, we haven't really seen our data, we haven't seen this data before, I'll say that. And so I'm curious about teachers' consumption of this information. How are they feeling about it?
Sure. So I did attend IDMs today, and our principals are working with our teachers right now. So they get these charts, but they're also being asked questions about where do you see most of our Tier 1. They're also being looking at the subgroups. So we are kind of looking at our Black students. We're looking at our Latino students. We probably should go a little bit deeper, seeing our males and females, looking at special ed and our emergent bilinguals. And that's work that needs to be done as well, looking at it. Having time to talk about what's going to happen for intervention during those tiers, and then monitoring it. And those meetings are being held this week and next week. But this is just a follow-up too in regards to our state of the district. And I know our parents were kind of asking like, well, how do we know what's working? Keeping in mind that our principals have been doing their POPs, their promises of practice. Core visits are also happening at the same time as IDMs. It could be a lot during this time, but we're pushing through this and making sure that we're giving what's needed. Support for our teachers and also trickling down to our students.
When is the spring administration of FastBridge?
That's going to happen April?
That's what I think.
Can you say it louder? In May, the beginning of May.
Okay. Got it, thanks.
And then we'll provide that as well.
Okay.
Which will probably go to the state of the district too.
Right. Okay. Anybody else have questions?
When, so moving from, do you automatically go from tier 3 to tier 2, or can they skip 3 to 1? Or is it also like?
Yeah, so some of the discussion we had on one of the IDMs is we were looking at one particular student that did move into tier 2, and the teachers decided we're going to still do some interventions with tier 3. Happy that the child made it to tier 2, but to make sure that transition is smooth before we kind of exit a child out. But the thing about tier 1, 2, and 3, it is more of a fluid, because a child can be understanding something in one moment, and another moment a new concept comes up, a new topic, they can fall into a tier 2, but immediately go back into tier 1.
Do you have the same pattern with 3 to 2, where it's easy to kind of go back and forth, or is there a different dynamic between tier 3 to 2 versus 2 to 1?
There's a different dynamic because normally with tier 3, if a child starts staying there, there's other cues for it. We want to see the movement going into tier 2 into tier 1. But yeah, there's a different dynamic. Mm-hmm. Okay. Moving on to our spelling bee. This is what our auditorium here looked like this past week, and the balloons are gone now. But D91 had its district spelling bee on February 7th. The following students competed. For grade 3, we had Ryan Searcy, Rosabella Manzaneras, Patrick McGrain, Stephen Bright. Grade 4, Eloise Billingsley, Tamaya Kelly, Henry Tom. Grade 5, Taria Jackson, Jaden Lavretta, Elijah Hilaire. Grade 6, Henry Dorr, Brianna Martin, Ryan Covington, Oliver Housefield. Grade 7, Aiden Leonard, Eliana Zayas, who's here, Emmy Whitebone, Darla Carrillo, and in grade 8 is Jaden Andrade Orr and Antonio Ridley. And so we are so very proud of all of them that they represented D91 with a lot of class. And our D91 champions were, first place, Amelia Whitebone, second place, Jaden Andrade Orr, and our third place winner is here, Aliana Zayas. So we could give her a hand. The West 40 ISC Scripps Spelling Bee will be hosted at Lindop, School District 92 on March 2nd. And then March 28th is the Regional ICS Scripps Spelling Bee Championship at Triton College. So they are moving on up, or one is. For our fireside chat, I kind of wrote this in my LinkedIn saying if you want to organize a fireside chat where families attend, you have to really start asking your parents and families to spearhead it. And that's exactly what happened. I'm really grateful to our parent-teacher organization for the opportunity to have an intimate conversation with my children's first teachers. Although the night was long and it was very, very cold outside, it definitely was warm and cozy in our middle school library, allowing for a true sense of belonging to occur. The questions were appreciated and conversation was nothing more than comforting. There was also tea and coffee and cookies that helped keep us warm. And it was really a wonderful night to end the first day of Black History Month. And I really want to thank Ms. Shannon Wood, who was present from the board, to see this happen. It truly was nice to hear the questions coming from our parents asking, questions they don't get to do during the board meeting. Did you want to add anything, Ms. Wood?
No, it was nice, like you said, to hear. Occasionally I'll run into people around town, but it was nice to hear from families directly the questions that they have, so it gives me some things to think about and to hear what questions they had for Dr. Alvarez. So I hope there are more of those. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I do want to push the 5 Essentials survey. This identifies the 5 indicators that lead to improved outcomes for all students, including improved attendance and larger test score gains. The 5 indicators that positively affect school success are effective leaders, collaborative teachers, involved families, supportive environments, and ambitious instruction. Research derived from the 5 essentials for school success has proven that schools strong on at least 3 of the 5 essentials are 10 times more likely to improve on student outcomes. And that's really what we're pushing here. So schools across Illinois are participating on this 9th annual 5 Essentials survey. The survey generates valuable data that districts can use to guide their ongoing efforts to improve schools and to offer students an excellent education. The survey is another improvement tool that allows districts and the state to share data as a means to inform parents and community members about the school's learning environment. The Illinois 5 Essentials Survey is administered online by Chicago Impact at the University of Illinois on behalf of the Illinois State Board of Education. Data and indicators are a result from an anonymous administration of the survey instrument. The survey window is January 24th through March 31st. So please be on the lookout for this survey. We're looking for all of our children from 4th and up, for our families. Make sure you are hitting each of the schools that your children attend, and for all of our teachers as well. Our community book. Yes.
I believe that it's in the school newsletters, right?
Yes.
A link to the 5 essentials? Okay. So if I can also make a personal plea, please fill it out. I know the students will do it during school, teachers will do it, but it's really, really important and very helpful if our community members, families can do it as well. So
Thank you. Our 3rd quarter community book, I do have to thank Garfield for this. It's Dream Street by Tricia Alma Walker and Akua Holmes. The book shares the importance of community support, having dreams that come to reality, and I'll be reading it tomorrow with partnership with our public library here at Forest Park. And keep in mind, every room gets the book as well. Noonish? Bye, guys. Okay. Moving on to our talent recruitment and development. Grading for equity, professional learning. On January 25th, personnel from across the district engaged in the 3rd of 6 after-school professional learning sessions, focusing on ways in which the district will promote equity by ensuring our grading practices are accurate, bias-resistant, and motivational. And so we're continuing on with our grading for equity as they looked at weights, how we are weighting our grading, whether it's participation, attendance, testing, quizzes. So our teachers kind of work together to see what's common, what's not common, what's the weights there. As of right now, we're just all discussions before we do some big moves, hopefully starting soon. Okay. Any questions there? Okay. Our STEAM positions, just wanted to say the district has posted the 2 teaching positions for 23-24 school year. Elementary STEAM teacher and middle school STEAM teachers are now posted. Ready to go. I know. And then finally for FOIA, we did have 2 FOIAs. One was for Retired Teacher Association. We have none retiring this year. And the second was Bo Kim for unionbids.com, looking for bid results or tabulations or the award for the Forest Park School District STEAM Lab. And so we provided them with, what the bids were. And this was just for commercial purposes.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to committee reports. For teacher negotiations, we don't have any. Board policy, anything? Mr.
Nothing
Brooks,
at this
Mr.
time.
Romo? No, okay. C, finance.
Ms. Tyler, the only thing for teacher negotiations, I would mention as the stipend committee.
Right, I was going to talk
Oh, you're going
about
to do it
that.
afterwards. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. Finance. Mr. Lyons, go ahead.
Sure, we met this Monday. We tackled some old business. We actually talked to we got now a list and an outlook on teachers that are going to be retiring over the next 3 to 4 years. We did start working on the contract matrix of all of our contracts, expiration dates, any specific terms. We did have a discussion about some improvements that we can make going forward. And then also, we're still in the search of researching some databases for ROIs for instructional programs. And I think, and we talked a little bit about the STEM lab stuff, which I think is coming up in our discussion point a little bit this evening, so.
Yep, I think it's pretty complete. Furniture, lighting, construction, all that good stuff. Okay, thanks, Mr. Lyons. Engagement?
We have got a great report. We are so excited. We're very excited for our report tonight. First, sorry, our QR code is ready to go. We've got 3 real basic questions that we're going to attach to the QR code in the way that it's going to work. We're going to have flyers that we're going to hang in local businesses. Folks can scan these, and it's going to give us kind of community feedback as to how we're doing. Really, really basic. A, you need to be a Forest Park resident. That makes really good sense. That's the only requirement. The 3 questions that we are going to focus on and gather our data with are we doing well in District 91? How can we improve in 91? And additional comments and concerns. Rudimentary to start. We want to see what kind of interaction we get from that and then develop it from there. Business folk, if you are out there and you would like to hang a QR code in your window, please reach out to me at my board email, which is listed on the district website, and we will get you flyers. We can also just hit the pavement and, ask folks if they want them. So those are ready to go. That's great. Second thing is just we're keeping our calendar updated. We're excited about making sure that the engagement calendar is out there for all of our board members to see, and we've been pleased with that. The third thing, we're just real excited. Inspired by someone's recent trip to a Fancy Pants event, we are going to kick off Forest Park Excellence Awards. This is going to be a community-wide thing that we do, which focuses on our children and on our schools, but involves the rest of the community. So think about how the Grammys work, where you're honored in different categories. Yeah? Okay. We are going to pick categories. We are going to partner with our wrong word. We're going to partner with our crucial organizations in the community that work with our students, the library, the park district, help me. Community center. That's the one. It was
like
right
other
there.
Organizations that touch on us,
Yeah.
we don't have them all, we're just at the beginning stages. So
We are at the very
anything
beginning
that
stages, yeah.
Partners with the kids.
Yeah.
And looking for ideals, board members all weigh in.
So, right, and one of our goals is to create a fancy night of recognition in Forest Park that brings the entire community together and recognizes the good work that we're all doing. Because as we've all said a number of times, Forest Park is too small not to be doing something like this and really succeed as an entire community. So where the school district is the base, this whole thing is going to bring us all together. We are jacked. That is our report for right now. We will get back to everyone about the Excellence Awards, or as we're also going to lovingly nickname them, the Frammies.
Thank you, Catherine. Is there a time frame for this? I didn't expect this at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. We were really excited to spring it on
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, we are going to we're going to start small, and we're really going to try to have something ready by June. We're also going to create a community team because one of us may not be on the board after April, but that person would also like to continue to be involved in the Frammies / Forest Park Excellence Awards. So we're going to get a community committee together to kind of continue to do it. We're aiming for June. We know we can do it. We actually have a really nice space that we're looking at using right here that costs us exactly nothing to use, which is great too. We love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, the ideal is, this year, to get it together, and then, next year, to keep it as a community event, and to get that community input, and, hopefully to grow it, and to be just, it is D91 centered, and it's ours, but have the buy-in of the community, and get the whole community excited, and have people, they can nominate someone, because we don't know everybody in the community. There may be someone that's doing something for the kids that's tying in, and we don't see it. We don't, that unknown person that's doing all these great things that we don't know about, but to get them pumped, and that they're doing stuff for our kids that we don't even realize that it's out there. So to get that, and it takes the pressure off of some of us that we get people that have these skills that, hey, I know how to do this thing, and it's going to take me 2 seconds where it would take us several hours to
Right.
do. So get
So-
that tie-in engagement with our
Yep.
community.
It's going to be great. We'll keep everybody posted.
Thanks a lot. I'm excited about that. Okay, E, superintendent evaluation.
No update this month.
Okay. F, PPC.
Hey again. We had our PPC meeting last week, and we had a decent-sized one. We covered our old business. Some of our new business included chatting about some new hires and who the FPEA contact should be to receive information about those folks. We covered Teach Boost and having that available in time for pre-conferences and post-conferencing for our members. Talked about making sure that PPC agenda items and minutes were sent directly to the exec members rather than the entire FPEA. Looked at the calendar. We talked about summer school. I mean, some of it was, these are vaguish conversations, and because some of them borderline with employment, we don't talk about every single detail. Yeah, professional development committee. One of the nice things that we talked about were door and window covers for during lockdown. So like magnetic covers for the side lights, and they've got really valid points, and we had a great productive meeting. Yeah, it was awesome.
Got it, thank you. CAC?
With the CAC, so we got the dates that we're going to be doing the town hall. So we'll back up some. We're going to do on, lost my train of thought as I was speaking. There's going to be a focus group on the same night. We're going to do it at the schools during parent-teacher conferences on the 23rd. So they're at the actual parent-teacher conferences. We were talking like there's going to be parents there anyway. So we're going to hold it that night on the 23rd between 6 and 7. Hopefully get 5 people from the school while that's happening and just take advantage of parents already being in the building doing conferences. We're going to do a town hall on March 11th. We have the space at the library if there's 40, and we're going to do reservation to make sure how many people are going to be there. If it's 40 or less, we can hold it at the library and the Austin room. If it's more than 40 that reserved, then we'll move it over to the Park District just for size-wise. With the other CAC members, we're still moving along with doing the one-on-ones with people in the community. We are asking if we do the one-on-one with you, so we don't get double feedback, not to participate in the focus group. The town hall, you can come in but not submit information, so again, we don't get that double feedback, and it kind of messes with our data. Definitely still, you can come to the town halls, but don't submit that information. With the handbook, we're still doing it, as it goes through, but we're going to focus more on that after the town halls are done. Invitations for the focus groups and everything will be going out soon. Nerissa is working on getting that out. Am I missing anything? Okay.
Can you remind me of February 28th?
23rd.
23rd.
Yes.
Can you, can we make sure that also we remind people about the 5 essentials if they haven't filled it out while we're all in a community space?
So like during the focus groups? Yeah.
Yeah,
We can
okay.
put it in there, yeah.
Great, thank you. IASB delegate.
There's no update.
Okie dokie. Okay, 10 items for discussion, that's me. The stipend committee. So the stipend committee is an extension of discussions that weren't completely finished during teacher negotiations in June. We had a lot of discussion around stipends for extra duty activities. So supervision and guidance for things like athletics, arts, student council, anything that our students do outside of the traditional school day counts as extra duty and is typically awarded a stipend. So because we were not in the same place at the end of our negotiation, we decided to form a committee to discuss it further and see if we wanted to come to a different conclusion. And where we landed is that we're keeping the stipend structure the same, and we added an evaluation tool. What are we calling it? Is it a rubric tool? Tool? Okay. We added a tool that will be filled out by the principal of each building. It's not at all tied to teacher evaluations. I want to be super clear about that. It is strictly around what happened within the context of the activity that the teacher is supervising. And our hope is that we can make sure that we are ensuring a good match and a great experience for our students who are in these activities, also supporting the teachers in ways that make sense for the activities, making sure they have resources, making sure there's good course planning around the activities, encouraging end of term, like culminating events, and also an opportunity to say, was this person a good fit? Would we have them back? Or do we feel like we would prefer someone else in that role? So that was sort of the extent of the stipend committee. Did I forget anything? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So with that, is there like a job description or something that has like expectations and then also a goal along with that?
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, that was something that we did request to make sure that if it's an after-school program, what are we trying to accomplish? What's the goal? What will the children be participating in? Will they be competing in something? Will they be providing some end project? It could be like a show as well too. But that was part of it, to make sure that a goal was evident, and that's in the tool.
So is that a part of this round, or is that something that we're adding on to for the next round?
We started effective yesterday.
Okay.
Wait, what's today? Thursday? Effective yesterday. Yes, we
Yes.
had the meeting yesterday.
So it could start as of yesterday. We still need to share the tool with our principals, and the FPEA will be sharing with the members.
Yeah.
So one of the items, if I remember right, that were of concern back when we were talking about it was like scheduling conflicts and things like that that interfered with having like all the sessions of a given activity. Were those, was there any discussion around, okay, if we're supposed to have 10 sessions, like weekly sessions, yeah, we're going to have 10 of them, or we have accommodations for getting somebody to, fill in or whatnot, just to make sure we don't have a case like, hey, we're working on a project, but we had to cancel 4 of the 10 sessions.
So it was discussed. Where we landed is some of that can be, it can shake itself out and be shared in the tool. And then the principals can decide if it makes sense for that particular teacher to continue to lead, or if this is something that we want to make available and go out to the greater pool again.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, one other quick
No,
question.
you're good. It's good.
Along with this, I know we're getting the principals, other staff, people like this. Are we asking like the parents to provide some feedback on how the kids' experience was? I mean, something to that. I mean, it's just another dynamic to the whole thing, and I just.
Yep. So that is not part of the tool. But I encourage all parents, if you have feedback about the activities that your child is participating in around anything, it's great. There's room for improvement. The timing isn't working. There have been cancellations. We love the culminating event. Good, bad, everything in between. Please connect with your, you can obviously share it with the teacher, and you should also share it with the building principal. The goal is to make sure that we are providing enriching experiences for our students. Like, this is where kids can potentially find the thing that really grabs them. And so we want to provide a space for that. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Is that right? Okay. Anything else? Okay. So I would say that the stipend committee is officially closed out. All right. 2023 Triple I Conference proposal ideas. So this came out of Dr. Alvarez has said a couple of times, which I appreciate, that she would like the board to present at the Triple I Conference in November, which many of us went to this past year and found the variety of sessions to be interesting and useful. I don't disagree. What I said to her is, I'm not certain that I am able right now to come up with an idea, and the proposal deadline is coming up 3rd, 6th, something like that. So it's coming up. So she threw out an idea around the structure of our meetings.
Yeah, it was more in
relations.
regards to relationships between the board and superintendent.
Yep.
Because I don't know how much people understand how much time you guys give the one-on-ones, coming to visits, coming to after-school events, and then coming to a board meeting as well here, because it may sometimes seem that there's a lot of ayes or everyone saying nay, whatever it is, but there's conversations behind the scenes as well as with President Tyler, who needs to inform. There's ways of communication being done by myself, the superintendent, whether it's through emails, through a newsletter, or through text, phone call. I'm trying to think of all the ways.
Face-to-face, lots of
Face-to-face
ways.
communication. Yeah. And so I said we could do a presentation of just that work and how it balances. It's not the end all. That, I mean, there could be other ways of like how, even as I think about our children who are invited, there's other ways like how do we get our children to be part of board meetings as well, whereas before we were having no one here. Now we're at least seeing some people coming, because people will show up when their children are here. And the reason we are here is because of our children. So I want to showcase them as much as possible. So that's another option. But Ms. Wood had another suggestion too. I don't know if you want to share that.
The idea of talking about the process we went through when we
Consolidated?
when we consolidated our schools, that whole process, just like what we did, how we went about it, how it went.
One of the things that when Dr. Alvarez and I met earlier this week, we were talking about that idea, and one of the things that I think is kind of interesting is that when most districts think about reorganizing, it's around resources, money, right? It's like they're trying to figure out cost-saving measures, and ours wasn't about that. Ours was about student experience and teacher collaboration, and to present what we hope to be a more enriching learning environment, which I think we're getting to. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting angle that doesn't happen often, that this was really a proactive move. This was forward thinking as opposed to being out of fear and reactive. So even though we had been on a trend for a while, it still takes a body with some motion behind it to make a tough decision and, strong leadership. And so that was one of the things that I thought could be sort of an interesting kind of take on or dive into that topic of reorganization. And we're not sure if we're done either, right? So this is, I think what this also signifies is that we are a board that is interested in possibly making, we just have our eye on what is going to serve our students and our community best, always, even when that's tricky to navigate and not motivated by money. So, anyone have any other ideas or anything that sounds promising to move forward on?
I am leaning more towards the restructuring idea for our district, because I just think about me when we first started talking about it, I was not a fan. Because I've had only heard of it like when schools are closing. I've only heard it in context of something bad is happening, and it's this devastating thing, and it's never done fairly. It's always the most underprivileged kids that are suffering from it, and we weren't there. So first thing is talked about it, that's where my mind straight went. And it's like, and then I had to pull back, like, that's not even what's going on here. So I had to pull myself back, and that is an aspect that you don't hear about. So I think that would be a good perspective to where, you can get some districts that you can get ahead of this, and, if we hadn't did it, could we be doing 2 STEAM labs right now if we hadn't have moved those kids there, because we definitely couldn't have done 3. So, like, tying that in is a good thing. That one idea I would be leaning more towards.
So there's an equity component to what we did that's important. And I think that'd be good to speak to.
Well, I think too, not only, I'm also big on the restructuring being what we present. To Kira's point, like, it wasn't a reactive thing. It was not even it was looking down the road, but then it was looking down the road. And it's really like laying the groundwork for where we want to go. So yeah, I'm all for the restructuring. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I echo everything that you guys said, because really I think it's a season of change. It's a phase 1, and it kind of helps paint that picture. And it, like you said, it's not financially driven. It was what was right for the students, what was right for the district. And then it allowed us to open up opportunities that we haven't had in the past. But then I think as we go through this could catapult into 3-4 years down the road that we can come back and say, okay, we went through phase 1, we presented on this. Let me tell you how phase 2 went, and look where we came. You know what I mean? So I think it paints that runway or that road a lot further, down the road.
Agreed.
I wasn't part of the first discussions of it, but I do think that, excuse me, there is a section that might be included on the amount of communication they can't do in this process because they intersect. You couldn't make these plans without having the communications, the one-on-one discussions, the group discussions. So I think it can be a mixture of both.
Yeah, it also, I think, allowed, one of the reasons that I love being on the board is the opportunity for growth and, sharpening my saw and learning new things. And certainly navigating public hearings was totally unexpected and new, and something that I hadn't envisioned that I would do, didn't even really know it was a thing. So I think there's also this aspect too of the gift that we get, which is to continue to learn, which is what we want to model for our students, right? So there's a lot of kind of angles to this. So y'all, is this our postmortem on closing the building, reorganizing? But also maybe this is something that we should kind of sketch out. And okay.
It looks like all of you are aligned with that. I could start getting that ready.
Okay. Is there someone, I hate saying things that I haven't fully, I'm just going to go with it. Are there people that might be really interested in working with Dr. Alvarez on this as like a first reader or something? I don't want you to feel like you have the burden is all on you, Dr. A. Would that be helpful? Okay. Okay. Let's see how it shakes out, and if it feels like you need a more narrow focus.
I saw Steve and Catherine's hand. So.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm always evergreen, always here. So, okay. Great. Dr. Hubbard. Thanks.
Well, good evening, Board and Dr. Alvarez. You talked about setting the path and how we're going forward and talking about phase 2, what this looks like. I think that's some of what we talked about. I was talking to Dr. Alvarez earlier today, and we realized 90 students, or 15% of our student body, is taking martial arts this year for free for a whole year that we're offering. So this creates some opportunities like that. But what I wanted to talk about mostly was the STEM lab, but I figured I'd throw that in there because it's some of those great opportunities that we get to offer now with some of the restructuring that we did. So some updates on the STEM lab and just update on the calendar that we're going to be asking you later on to approve. So for the updates for the STEM lab, we go to the next slide, please. So we had our bid opening last week. Bids came in under budget, which is great, about $300,000 under budget. We received 8 total bids, which we were very excited for. We were hoping we'd get 5, and we got 8. We're going to ask you later on to award to the least responsible bidder. And the recommendation letter from the architect is in the packet that you have there. We budgeted about $1.2 million for these renovations, and I think the bid we're going with is about $853,000. So some savings there. Currently, we're looking for furniture quotes. We know that they should not exceed about $91,000 for the furniture for both STEM labs. So we'll have that for you at the March board meeting for you to approve. The curriculum team has reviewed 5 different curriculums, and they're scheduling site visits, to go see some of these curriculums in action. And we're hoping to have the recommendation for you for the curriculum in March or April. And as Dr. Alvarez mentioned, we have already posted for the 2 positions. So then hopefully also we get some great candidates, and in March, April, we'll be making the recommendation to hire for these positions. So we're on track and where we're heading for the STEM labs, and everything's looking good so far. In terms of the calendar update, well, sorry, any questions about the STEM lab? Okay. Calendar, in January, you approved the recommended calendar for next school year. We did notice there's a couple edits that were needed. There was a typo on President's Day, so we made that change, and after talking and meeting with the PPC, we made a change to a parent-teacher conference day. So that's why it's back on the agenda to approve the edited version. But those were the only 2 changes. Yeah? Any questions about the calendar?
Was it fall or spring parent-teacher conference? The fall one?
The fall one.
Okay.
It was moved up a couple days.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. That was around the Halloween.
Yes, October 26th.
Yep.
Mr. Romo?
We didn't move the first day of school, did we?
We did not.
Thank you.
Any other questions? That is all I have. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to go into closed session. May I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of employees, and purchase or lease of property? A motion, please.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. We're now in closed session. Thank you. All right, we are back in open session. Okay, let's think about the consent agenda items that we just discussed. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I will second.
Also.
May I have a roll call to approve?
Mr. Lyons?
Aye.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Okay. 13 items for action. Dr. Hubbard?
Good evening, once again. Just ask you to consider recommendation to adopt the bid for. Oh, can you hear me?
Not that well.
Hello?
Yes.
There you go. Consider recommendation to accept the bid from Pacific Construction Services Company for $853,189. That's to construct both STEM labs at Field Stevenson and Forest Park Middle School. Yes.
There is a completion date that we need to have it done by, and we are going to put a cancellation penalty clause in the agreement, correct?
There's one in there, and it's August 14th.
Perfect. Thank you.
You all, I'm sorry, hold on one second. I forgot to ask for a motion, a second, and discussion. I will make the motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Say your piece one more time, please.
All righty, so we do have a completion date in the agreement along with a penalty clause if they miss that completion date, correct?
Correct, and it's August
Thank you.
14th.
Great, thank you. Other questions? And we already spoke about this, but it's a big ask, right?
It is.
This is a huge investment we're making. I'm really excited for our students. It's,
And the proposals did come in under budget, as I mentioned before,
Yes.
about $300,000 under budget, so it's
yeah,
good.
so this is really great. Okay, any other questions? Okay, let's vote.
Mr. Lyons?
Aye.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. And then number 2, consider recommendation to adopt the revised FY 2023-2024 school calendar. A motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
This was, once again, just those two changes of President's Day and moving the parent-teacher conference day, and that's it.
Great. Okay, let's vote.
Mr. Lyons?
Aye.
Ms. Vallow?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Aye.
Mr. Rummel?
Aye.
Ms. Cotton? Aye. Ms. Wood?
Aye.
Ms. Tyler?
Aye. Okay. Thank you. All right, additional matters for consideration from the board. Anyone have anything? John? No? Okay. I thought you were. Anybody? Go ahead.
I went to the spelling bee, and it was so great. Like, I don't watch sports, and I don't do all that stuff, but the spelling bee was so exciting. And my favorite part was watching the kids. Like, if they would get out, and they would take a second, and, you know, you could sit back, you would see the disappointment, but like, the next round, they were right back to cheering their friends on, and they were encouraging each other. And even when they got antsy, they would like regulate themselves, or say like, okay, hold on, like this person is up, and they were so thrilled and happy to see, even though they were out, like their friends and their peers winning, and it was just so exciting. And I'm going to be at the next one, and there may be a T-shirt involved with a certain person, and if she goes to regional, I will get more ridiculous as it goes. So, I mean, if you keep winning, I'll keep being ridiculous. So. No pressure, but if you want to see me get ridiculous, take it all the way. So, but it was great. It was just, I will be there every year because I didn't know this what a spelling bee was like. It was so great. That's all. Yes, Zimbabwe. I didn't know how to spell it. I would have got it wrong, but I know now.
Oh, I just echo it was beautiful to see the children supporting one another in that spelling bee, how confident they were. And it was just a marvelous experience to be a part of. I appreciate the kids for the efforts, all the studying and effort that they put into it.
Great, thank you. I went to my first girls' basketball game at middle. I saw the JV sixth graders. It just doesn't often line up with my schedule, but I had a free moment and I grabbed it and it was great. And the girls won. And my child is probably really glad I'm not a sport mom because my love of amateur sports came all right back to me. So I thought that was really, really great. It made me really proud and happy to see them. And I don't talk about my child as little as possible in this public forum, but we don't share the same last name, but my child, Emmy Whitebone, did win the spelling bee, and I'm so proud of her. And thank you, everybody. And the best part about it, yes, we're excited for her, and Zimbabwe is a great word to win on, but thank you for streaming it. Because, it allowed me I couldn't make it, my husband couldn't make it, and she didn't have anybody here from her family, and so it felt really good to be able to watch her, and I may have made somebody that I work with in a meeting also watch it with me, so we were cheering like fools, but thank you so much for doing that, because it made me really happy to be able to, I felt better about not being there, so.
If I could just add, because I didn't mention it in my superintendent report. First, thank you to Mr. Edler, to James Edler.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Edler.
For the work on the spelling bee. I know he was under pressure. He's a horrible boss. And also for the academic coaches that supported, from the judging to kind of supporting the children, to sit down, walking them and trying to calm them down. And the streaming, of course, to our two gentlemen in the back, who also did wonderful music. So Carlos Romero doing the music, and, we have Jason, working the streaming of it. So just really awesome to see that. And I have to also thank Steve Johnson for helping with transportation of our spelling bee contestants, and also our custodians, Bob Laudario in particular, to make sure the seating and everything was right. And Nudie Susato Ramos, who's always about the party and bringing the balloons and setting that up to have the aesthetics of it. So it was very, very nice. So I just want to be able to thank them.
Yeah, agreed. And a few of us were also at the choir concert at Field. Thank you for the reminder. That feels like 14 years ago. But that was also, felt really, really good to be back at a musical event and seeing parents. We had to get more chairs. There weren't enough. There was a student accompanist on the piano. There was a student who conducted the group. There were 2 students who provided sign language interpretation during one of their songs. It was really special. So thank you to Ms. Binder for doing a great job with that. It's an extra activity that's, we don't call it 0 hour, but it's early. And she did a really great job, and the kids were awesome. So many parents, it was really good. So, good time to be in D91. Feels good. So with that, I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, it is 8:58, meeting adjourned. Thanks so much. See you in March.